Coming up on First at 4, from inmates to graduates, how a local detention center is working to help offenders turn their lives around. Plus, we are hearing from Kentucky Secretary of State about the role Kentucky voters will play in deciding the 2024 presidential candidates.
Plus, a wintry mix is looking more likely as we start the weekend. Your first alert forecast coming up as Mountain News First at 4 continues.
Mountain News First at 4 continues.
During his first week on the job, Attorney General Russell Coleman announced the indictment of Owsley County Clerk Shanna Oliver. WYMT's RJ Johnson has more on the charges she is facing.
Owsley County Clerk Shanna Oliver was indicted on several charges for reportedly refusing to deliver public records to the Kentucky Department of Vehicle Registration. The indictment says she also reportedly failed to send paperwork regarding the purchase of a trailer to the department. Kennedy Little lives in Owsley County and says this has been going on for a while.
When I saw the news post this morning, I was actually very surprised that it had actually happened, because living in a small town, everybody knows everybody, and it was more or less a shock. Something has actually been done, because this has been going on for several months.
Oliver is charged with tampering with public records and second-degree official misconduct. In Owsley County, RJ Johnson, WYMT Mountain News.
RJ, thank you. We'll have much more on this indictment tonight at 6. The Pike County Detention Center is working to get its inmates out of the cells and into the classroom. The detention center recently graduated a few people from its GED partnership program, which brings instructors into the facility to help the inmates reach a milestone in their education. Sean Ashley, a recent graduate of the program, says it is a crucial part of his recovery and rehabilitation, and he looks forward to building on the success once he is released.
I really needed it because I got kicked out of school when I was young, and I found this as an opportunity to better myself while I was locked up. So I started looking into the GED program, and it's a really good program. The teachers are really helpful. They helped me through it, and if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't have got through it.
Ashley says he feels like the program is helping him get on the right path to progress and employment. We'll hear from more of the program participants coming up tonight at 6.
We are tracking some clearing skies as we go into your Thursday afternoon, also Thursday evening as high pressure begins to take over. Let's take a live look from the London Corbin Airport. You can see plenty of blue sky back in the distance, but that temperature is still chilly on this Thursday, up to 37 degrees over at the airport, 39 for Somerset, also Irvin, 34 in Pikeville, down to freezing for Wise at 32 degrees on this Thursday. So as promised, we are a few degrees cooler on Thursday compared to Wednesday, all thanks to system number 1. That weak cold front that passed through earlier today, and now high pressure begins to take over. As you can see back to the west, a couple of areas of high pressure over Missouri, also Arkansas, and that will keep us dry, also clear as we go into tonight. So some cold weather is on tap. We could see lows back in the upper teens and lower 20s. So once again, be sure to protect those pets and pipes as we go overnight. The big story, we are tracking 2 different weather systems that are stronger, one this weekend, one also as we go into next week. So a busy forecast is on tap, timing out those rain chances, also that wintry mix chance in just a few minutes. Steve?
Cameron, thank you. As Israel continues its attacks in Gaza, there are growing concerns about a potentially bigger conflict on a different front. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken is headed back to the region to push for a new round of diplomacy to calm tensions. CBS's Tina Kraus has the latest.
Almost 3 months into the war between Israel and the Palestinian militant group Hamas, there are fears of a new conflict on Israel's northern border with Lebanon. Israeli troops trade fire with Hezbollah militants daily. And in Beirut Thursday, mourners buried a senior Hamas leader, killed in an explosion in the Lebanese capital a day earlier. Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah is promising revenge for the assassination that's ignited Palestinian protests across the Arab world, including the occupied West Bank. This man called it a cowardly attack and said Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has just announced the next stage of the war. a war ignited by Hamas's brutal attack on October 7th. The head of Israel's Mossad intelligence agency is vowing to settle the score by tracking down everyone involved in the massacre. But as Israel expands operations in central and southern Gaza, Palestinian civilians are still bearing the brunt of the attacks. Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry says more than 22,000 Palestinians have died in Israeli airstrikes since the war began. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
As U.S. diplomats push to prevent the war from spreading, White House officials say they are putting more pressure on Israel to increase badly needed humanitarian aid into Gaza. Candidate filings for the 2024 presidential election and other races are due here in Kentucky by tomorrow at 4 p.m. We spoke with Secretary of State Michael Adams about the role Kentucky voters will play in deciding the candidates for this upcoming presidential cycle. The first presidential primary is later this month in Iowa. Here in Kentucky, our primary is not until May. Secretary Adams says even if the candidates for the 2024 presidential election are decided by the time May 21st rolls around, Kentuckians still hold some power with their vote.
Your vote still does count. It still does decide whose slate of delegates go to the national convention of your party and decide who vote for president. But of course, the reality is the early states have disproportionate influence in settling the field.
According to Secretary Adams, former President Trump has still not filed yet in Kentucky, but is expected to before tomorrow's deadline. Chris Christie, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, and Vivek Ramaswamy are registered in Kentucky for the Republican Party. Louisville area doctors are seeing an uptick in a mysterious respiratory illness that's spreading around the country. It comes with a brutal cough that may have you down for the count for weeks, and it is not COVID-19, the flu, or RSV.
I've had a couple of patients with some upper respiratory type symptoms, and we've tested them for COVID and flu and strep, and everything's come back negative. A lot of postnasal drip, sinus pressure, and a sore throat are some of the general symptoms that I'm seeing.
Seniors and children under the age of 2 are most at risk for complications. The doctor says it's important to stay hydrated and to feed your body the fuel it needs to recuperate. January kicks off National Blood Donor Month, and the Kentucky Blood Center says it comes at a time when their entire blood supply is low. According to the center, 1 in 4 people will need a blood transfusion at some point in their lifetime. For one man, donating blood has become a passion. For the last 15 years, Vinton Smith has been on a journey to donate blood in all 50 states.
When I stop and I think about what motivates me to continue to donate blood, it's realizing that there are people that are alive today because of the time I took to donate blood or platelets.
To date, Smith has donated blood in 47 states. His next stop is Nevada. He says he hopes his story inspires others. Coming up on First at 4, a life-saving alert. How one woman says her smartwatch helped save her life.
Plus, we are tracking some bitterly cold weather as we go into tonight. Timing out those rain chances, though, by this weekend in just a few minutes.